Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts because this one, if you miss it, you figuratively and literally might be put into a comatose state because our guest has done it all in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit. Currently, he wrestles for a company, one of the premier companies around in this circuit, with nearly 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. And what he's done for this company currently is he's got not one, not two, but three. That's right, three championships. He's going to be talking about defending one of those championships tomorrow afternoon. We've got the champion literally just hours before he's about to go back in the ring. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what has led him to quite a last several weeks. He might actually be the man in wrestling in this sport right now that may have won the most championships in the past, 60 days, 90 days. He's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about all things related to BTW. He's going to talk about that TLC match everybody's still talking about. He's going to talk about his journey in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit, which has led him to be a world heavyweight champion 7 times. That's right, 7 times. He's going to talk about his story, and I promise you, he ain't going to be butchering anything. The only thing he's going to be butchering is his opponents coming up. He's going to talk about also some of his moments. He's going to talk about some of his opponents. And he's also going to get a little something from yours truly, because in the 5.5 years that yours truly has been on the air here in Sportswire Radio, for the first time ever, we are speaking with a wrestler of any sort, anywhere in the backyard, the underground, the independents, or the pros, that actually holds, figuratively and literally, 3 championships simultaneously. He's going to talk about that, plus, who knows, you tell us what's going to go on, because there is no better way to continue to be in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters. Sportswire Radio. Now, I know our guest has heard a who's who of people that have gotten these introductions, but I'm going to make sure now, for the first time, he gets that triple championship like introduction, because there's nothing and nobody who gives those introductions out unlike this man right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to about to do this. Let's get right to it and introduce our champion. So with that,
damn.
Wait for it. Further ado, here on the Sportswire. Number one. Sports show. 7-time heavyweight champion of the world. Currently, the reigning, defending BTW, TV, Air Promotional, and Continental Champion. His name is, simply put,
Oh man, this is fucking awesome.
The champ is here.
Yes,
Champ,
sir.
how you doing?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I don't think I butchered that one there. Maybe let's
No,
be
you didn't butcher a
here.
single second of that.
Well,
Absolutely.
that certainly will be one thing we won't have to talk about again. But obviously, champ, a lot to talk about in the world of BTW, a lot to talk about in your career, undoubtedly for sure. But for those that are listening and watching, I'll start off nice and easy. How you feeling tonight? How you doing?
I am feeling pretty all freaking right. I just worked an
Oh,
8 hour, 9 hour shift, doing my thing over there at the old slaughterhouse. But
boy,
I want,
you have a job actually that a lot of people in real life actually. My father used to always say one of the best jobs actually to ever have was being a butcher. Believe it or not.
it's definitely still, I would say, one of the best jobs to have currently, and it is very secure. So I
Yep,
am,
that's what he always said. If you learned how to be a butcher, you learned how to use the utensils, that you would basically work until, well, whenever you decided to retire. And unfortunately, I didn't heed those instructions because I did work in a supermarket once upon a time, but that's okay. I've done pretty successful in life, but we're not going to get into that. You have been much more successful in the wrestling ring. And I want to talk to you about what's coming up here because you have a huge match this Tuesday, Season 6, Episode 128, where you're defending one of those championships against Redhead. And before I put some things up on the screen here, tell us what can we expect tomorrow afternoon against Redhead, Season 6, Episode 128.
well, see, I have actually not really ever had to physically encounter Redhead in BTW yet. So
Mm,
there is a lot of mystery in my book of what is coming to the table on his end of things, but
sure.
it's it's the same thing, just a different day for, of course, me. I'm gonna walk into this company, I'm gonna walk into that ring, and I am gonna lay him out simply as I have almost every single person that has ever stepped in this freaking ring with me so far. And my repertoire speaks for itself already, but this man right here is just not ready for what he's about to encounter when it comes to being in this ring, for sure. Um, However, he is much respected because he has done some things himself in this company. So
Sure.
I have to tread lightly. He is dangerous.
Let me ask you a question. And you've been on quite a run here these past several weeks. You've obviously accumulated 3 championships, and that's no easy feat. Are you feeling or starting to feel any pressure now? Because, I speak with a lot of people all the time. I speak with athletes, wrestlers, and there's always this pressure. You hold one championship. Okay, you got to keep it. We had Big Man Cam on Thursday's show, and he made more than a cameo, no pun intended, yesterday, and he's a double champion, but you're a triple champion. And I'm curious, are you starting to feel that pressure or hear those footsteps? I'm just curious for the audience. Talk to me about that.
Um, Tom, absolutely. I would have to say that I have been feeling this pressure since I won 2 championships in back-to-back events.
Yep.
I knew right then and there that when I went into enemy territory, because I'm going to clarify this for the air, I'm actually a free agent within the BYW circuit. I've just come to BTW and I've won a multitude of their championships,
I mean,
which
3 championships in a span of a short time. That's really like, again, people win one championship here. I had a guy last year hadn't won a single championship in 17 years. It was kind of a running joke for about a year on Sportswire. You've won 3 in, I don't know, quicker than a New York minute.
yeah, when you are put in that position, especially considering you're in enemy territory, like you're not actually like signed to their roster technically, it
Sure.
puts an even more immense amount of weight on your shoulders, I would say, because some of them take it disrespectfully. You know what I mean? Because not anyone in their company has ever done this either.
I mean, listen, as I'm sure you're aware of, talk with a lot of people in a lot of places. And we're talking rarefied air to be 3-time champion or holding 3 championship belts in one single promotion. Sure, guys are double champions in different places. My very good friend RP Davis, who's considered to be the greatest British independent wrestler currently, held like 4 championships, but 4 different promotions. I mean, there are guys in different places who become a tag champ and a world champ, but to have you here being the first guest in this platform's history to have held 3 championship belts, I think that's a really big deal. And I think that it shows what you've done. But let me ask you a different question. And obviously, this is the BTW YouTube page. All you have to do is go there, hit the sub button, go watch tomorrow's show. You're going to see Comatose and Redhead. But because you're a free agent in the BTW locker room, what's the response? How are you being dealt with right now? Because you don't work for them, and yet you hold 3 of their championships. I mean, what's up?
Well, to be quite honest, I think
Yeah, we're
there
live.
there is quite a lot of animosity, I would say, in the higher ups that run the company. Of course, I would say the people that run the company are a little corrupt. Of course, everyone knows them. They're the Northwest Society. They're currently on a mission themselves to hold all the gold. And unfortunately for them, I'm just one of the people that stands in their way to them. But to me, they're simply just a bump in the road. But it does put a target on my back because they are the ones that pay everybody. They're the ones that contract everybody. They're the ones that set up the events. So they can make things very, very hard on me if they wanted to.
So
So
why do you think they haven't so far?
why I think that they haven't so far
Yeah.
is actually a mystery to me. I actually have no idea.
You don't know, but they've
Because
got to feel weird though by you holding all the belts, right? Well, 3 of these belts, not all the belts, but 3 belts you're holding of their company's possession. So it has to be like this weird. I don't know what you call it, like weird.
weird
I don't
air.
know. Yeah, like awkwardness. That's the word. It has
Awkward.
to be
Yeah,
a
that's
level of awkwardness. Like it has to be because you don't work there, but yet you hold those champions. We hear all the time famously the story about Bret the Hitman Hart was the WWF champion and he had signed with WCW, and what was he going to do with the title? He had a 30-day clause that he basically had. He had his own creative control. He could do whatever he wanted, and we saw what happened there. And but yet you don't have a contract either, and you hold these belts. I mean, are you concerned, conversely, that since there is a level of unclearness, that at any time you could be screwed over in BTW?
I would think that would be very unwise on their part because let me just say this. There's not a whole lot of people that probably know me on this platform. At least I would hope there is, but
I think some people know you. I
some
mean,
people. But if there's one thing about me that I will clarify, it is I am fucking crazy. Excuse
well,
my French.
okay, I appreciate that.
Um, but if you want to screw me over, that's like screwing over someone that is very seriously mentally ill.
Ah,
So I don't think that they want to bring a side out of me that hasn't been brought out in years just because they wanted to be petty. That would be a very unwise decision on their part. That's all I'll say about that.
but there is obviously a level of awkwardness in the fact that you don't technically work for BTW and you hold their championship belts. I mean, again,
There is.
we look at wrestling history. I mean, Bret Hart was in that predicament. Jeff Jarrett had signed with WCW, and he was the WWF Intercontinental Champion at the time, and he signs a contract with WCW, and it was alleged that in order for Jeff Jarrett to drop the championship, he was paid somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000. Now, Mr. Jarrett had a different side, so I don't know what. But the fact is that they could also be concerned. You could take this title and show up anywhere, right? I mean, so that
That is very true.
you might say that they may not want to screw with you. You obviously could do a lot of things, but from their vantage point, the Northwest Society, what if you wanted to take this championship somewhere else?
What
And
what I will say about that is I am also a man of my word. There is no value in bringing a championship of a different companies to another company other than pure pettiness within itself.
true, but there are a lot of companies that look at it. You're a champion with a company that has a following. You're a
Yes.
champion of a company that's got 3,000 subscribers nearly on YouTube. There's a lot of these promotions that come on to Sportswire that they have, let's be honest, in some cases, half, maybe, let's say, less than 2/3 the amount of subscribers that BTW has. They might want to gobble you up in a second if the logistics worked and said, "Hey, we got a triple champion on our show. This guy's just walked in and won 3 of their titles with a company that's got 3,000 subs." I'm sure there would be a lot of companies right here. A lot of them come onto this platform that they might want to play ball and take you on. I mean, that's just the reality of it is everybody's in the business for themselves. You know
That
that. You've been in this game a while. You've been a world champion in different feds. You know how the game goes, Comatose.
absolutely. So here is how I would respond to that is that is very much an option. So for them, I would have to say just make me feel comfortable because
What would
unfortunately
be those terms? What would be those terms?
here's what I'm going to have to say.
Okay.
In the past, the entire time I've been doing this circuit in the underground scene,
Which is, but I've coined the term the circuit, and I
the
noticed that
circuit,
people.
but
I
I know,
noticed people
no,
are using it in podcasts. They're
I
using it in shows. You know.
So what I will have to say is in this circuit, there has been a lot of carrying on my end on most of the companies that I've been to. That means WWC, WWKC, IDWC, FCW. Those are 4 companies that, granted, I helped get off of the ground, but the sole purpose was for them to make a name for themselves. Now, while these guys do have a name for themselves,
Absolutely. And they have a long history too. This is a company that's been around a while.
They do. But I have main evented shows that these guys were on my undercard for. I am a major asset to them.
Obviously, no question. You're a triple champion.
No question. They would, give me these opportunities that I would say that I've earned, of course.
But this is you have to admit, you've been in the game a while.
Yeah.
You have to admit, this is a very
peculiar
situation. This is a peculiar, unique. I mean, this is, I don't want to say bizarre. I don't think it's the right term, but I think it's just,
I'm honored. I am absolutely honored.
Well, there's always got to be a first for something, but again, there's a lot of people that I don't know how to go forward with that. I mean, you could potentially take all these companies' belts, and from their vantage point, if I'm a Northwest Society, and I know there's a lot of comments here, and people are fired up right now, which I'm very happy about. But wonderful. I mean, I knew that would happen. First of all, we're in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform, World Wrestling Matters, and we just had on a guy from Australia wrestling in Japan, so people are fired up right now. Well, listen, but the point is that this is a company that you could take all these belts, and if you wanted to, you could take them high and dry. And this company, I mean, you could kill this company if you win all these belts, if you literally decided to, and you have all their belts. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, from a business side of it, I mean, part of me says you could be screwed at any given moment starting tomorrow afternoon, as a matter of fact, against Redhead.
That would be a very unfortunate situation.
I'm not saying it
however,
should happen.
He is a worthy. I mean, for the television title, he would be a worthy candidate to take that from me.
Any of them, and they're all going to be fired up.
I wouldn't be too mad about it.
But anybody's
for his sake, but for my sake,
sure.
That would be terrible, and I would. Yeah, it puts a huge target on my back, and it does make me think that I may have to start being more cautious, for sure.
And how does this compare to other times in your career? You've been a guy before. You have been a top champion. You have been a guy that's been here in this circuit and has won big before. So how does this compare to other situations?
I'm gonna have to say this bluntly and honestly. This compares to nothing actually that I have actually done in my career, because the farthest I've gone in my career is a double champion in a single company.
But you've been
But
a world champion 7
but I have
times.
been but I have been a world champion, so I have been the top guy. But this,
Okay.
to me, this feels like a different level, because the interpromotional title specifically is a title meant to be defended in other companies against the top competition. So, in my eyes, that holds a more special place in my heart than any world championship that I've ever won, is specifically the interpromotional title. Because I could face guys like Jack Delta.
You could face guys like Atomic Titan.
Yeah.
You could face guys, I don't know, D'Angelo LaFlame. I don't know. You could face guys like Omen Black. You
For
could
that
face God.
for that very title. Like
Yeah.
that, yeah, for that title
You
specifically. They would have to come to BTW for any of those other titles. But for the interpromotional title specifically, if they challenge me in their company and they want it in their grounds, it could happen.
So you mean to tell me that these guys, right? Jack Delta's in Michigan. He's the ROEW world champion. You got D'Angelo the Flame. He's the internet champion in Resurrection Wrestling. He's a traveler. I mean, for all I know, he's probably got a plane ticket out to where you are in Oregon. You got Omen Black, who's the boogeyman in the Midwest, the hardcore god. He's in Iowa. You got Sean Jovi, the resident rock star. He's in Wisconsin. You got Justin Parsley, who's actually my world champion, my company's world champion, which I own a portion of, the PWF. He's my world champion. He's in Indiana. You've got Jake Dvorak in Massachusetts. He's the NEW world champion. D Savage, a guy who just wrestled in the Indies with the Fatu brother. He's also in Massachusetts. We've got guys like Aaron Blaze, who's in Tennessee. He's a traveler. Aaron Blaze, the headline, the main event. Aaron Blaze, who's in Pennsylvania via Tennessee. Silas Walker, who was here last week in Maryland. So basically, anybody, I could even throw names out there like Mr. Judgment in Maryland, a.k.a. Asher Christ in North Carolina. So basically, you know what? Even Yoshimatsu Matsuda in Australia, if he wanted to challenge you right now, he's a 15-time world champion. So anybody from anywhere in this circuit could challenge you tomorrow, and you have to basically agree, okay, yeah, I got to wrestle you.
I don't have to agree, but that is the purpose of the title. In my opinion, this title is worth more than any heavyweight championship in any company, which is a very bold statement to say. But
no, it's not that bold when you think about it. I mean, you watch these shows. There's a lot of people here I see join the chat. I mean, I'm here every day, and I mean,
that's very true. But I'm trying to be realistic with it.
I got you.
There is a lot of inter-promotional type of content within this backyard wrestling circuit right now that is very thriving, I would say.
I agree with that, obviously. Listen, I mean, I covered a lot of things, and I think it is a thriving circuit. I agree.
To me, what is it really all about? Is it simply just so you can say that you've gone to those companies? Is it simply just to put another dot on your resume? Or should there actually be more to the interpromotional era?
What do you want it to be? You're the champion. Your opinion carries a lot of weight.
I would say I want, since this is a fairly new thing in my opinion, it just became a thing. I just want to face big names that actually want to globalize backyard wrestling even more than it is now.
Well, our guest before you is a man that's trying to do that. If we're being real, Yoshimatsu Matsuda, he's going to.
I was actually excited when I was watching that stream and I heard him say that, to be honest with you, because that means that there are other people out there with the same passion as me that could actually make something like this happen, along with you, because you are hashtag All Wrestling Matters, which is one of the biggest things that could make this happen. which I appreciate you for
Well,
giving me.
we just had Summer Bash. We had Summer Bash, which took place, and there was over a dozen companies, and there was a lot of people that took part in that. There was obviously the Riot in the Ring, which was done in Massachusetts, and now we have an All Wrestling Matters hardcore tournament. It was also broke last night that we're looking at tag team championships. So there's a lot of, I think, creativity. You've been in the circuit a while, and I think if you've seen in the last, I don't know, 9, 10 months or so, give or take, maybe a little more than that. But really, I would say in the last 8 or 9 months, there's been a creativity in this circuit. And I don't know if you want to give me the credit. I think it's unfair because I'm not the one in the ring. But
No, no,
I
no,
think
definitely. I'm not giving you.
I got this. But I just want to say that there is, I think, a newfound sense of creativity, which goes into part with this. And I think that gets people, talking at the very least. I think that's what we should, because a lot of times people look at and they want to stay in their own cocoon, their own bubble. But I think this is what it should be about. We should be going out, and if there's a will, in a way, like you said, logistically to do something, and if the people would want that to happen, I mean, who's to say it shouldn't?
I agree, 100,000% for sure, because there is a lot of dream scenarios that could happen within this industry. There really is. And then for there to be, in my opinion, a title that could make or break someone and continue the story of backyard wrestling, I think it would just be beautiful, which I am feeling very, very strongly. There's going to be a lot of that to happen very, very soon with big names facing each other.
Well, you
Sure.
know what? It's already started at Summer Bash, and maybe we'll see it in BTW very
Absolutely.
shortly. But I got a lot of people that want to talk to you, and I have to get to the comments because this will probably piggyback off some of that. So let
I'm
me
here.
say hello to some people. And unfortunately, if you're on X, I can't get you on X, and that's unfortunately due to StreamYard, and that's
Oh,
what
I'm
I'll
not.
get to. Yeah. Well, there's people that do like to hear it. Zilla's our resident bot. I want to say hello to Not a Real Guardian 246. Let's go. Let's go. Maybe French, but obviously this person's a big fan of yours specifically. She's got some comments, and I'll certainly get to some of those.
Absolutely.
My buddy Big Man Cam, who just sent me a cameo video that I will eventually put up, not tonight, but I will put it up on one of the shows, says greetings. He's really big, and he looks like he probably has ate a few Idaho potatoes. You probably had also a few steaks of yours you probably cooked up in wherever you work. He probably
I
ate them, and
did.
I'm sure he likes his steaks well done. He probably likes his well done, but we'll say hello to BTW. There's some comments there first. Want to say hello to the man that obviously was the man who hosted Summer Bash, Mr. Dark Kron himself, a fellow champion. He says, "Evening, gentlemen. How you doing, Mr. Kron?" Want to say hello to my buddy here who gives the hands up, and we say, "Hi, how are you? Howdy." And man, he must have the greatest mom. I'm sure you'd probably agree if that's the case. But we'll see. But mom obviously liked my curls. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, mom. You definitely made my day on that. And she liked my intro. 7-time world champion. Yep, 7 times. He's currently holds 3 championships in BTW. He's the TV, the Continental, and the Interpromotional. How do you like that? What's up, Comatose? How you doing, Steve? Thank you very much. Yes, Comatose. Want to say hello to one of my buddies, Mr. Hillbilly Tilly, who I know is going to be very glued to the screen here tomorrow afternoon, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, after Season 6, Episode 120, because we have AJ Morgan of the AWL here. He's got a lot to say, and he's going to talk about that live. And also, if you're a fan of ESW Shockwave, if you are here right now, you need to be here tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, because Osiris is going to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So if you like ESW and you're here for the first time, you will not want to miss with what Osiris has to say as he joins his place in history. Dropped BTW a follow on TikTok and Insta. I mentioned him. He's a double champion. He's a TikTok influencer. So who knows? Maybe you'll cook him a New York steak well done, an Idaho potato, or maybe a side of string beans on the side, and a piece of bread from work, and maybe you'll wrestle him in a match. Who the heck knows? Thank you. Well, and that's why I put the buttons up here, and I found out how crazy Comatose can get firsthand.
Yes, you did.
You did?
When
Anything?
When I took his TV title.
You want to say any? Oh, I think I know who this is. Do you want to
Yeah,
say anything about
yeah.
this individual? I think I know very well who this is. You want to
Um,
say something to him,
I all I have to
Mr.
say
Storm?
to you, Steven, is that after repeatedly haunting your company's nightmares in a different company that I'm not even from, you guys have gained my respect because you guys can take a beating and you guys are actually very, very entertaining. And for a couple of you that are first years, I am very, very impressed by how you handled yourself in that climate. And I am very, very impressed with how professional you guys were. It was a sight to see for sure.
Mm. Well, I got a lot of comments I want to get through because there's still
Absolutely.
things I want to get to. There's Mr. Matsuda himself. Also, by the way, he's an incredible musician in his own right. He has a clip out there on YouTube with 47,000 views in music. He does wrestling and music. D'Angelo the Flame, like Joe Hendry, say his name, he appears. D'Angelo the Flame is here. I do have a bunch of questions from our friends here in BTW, so let me get to them here.
Okay.
Why haven't we done anything yet? Simply for the reason that Swift has his rematch. After that, you are finished. RTG. What would you like to say toward that?
Well, RTG, considering that does terrify me a little bit because you're the world champion in your faction is Blackout, and he is an unstoppable force right now, along with Gabriel James, along with Ryan the Giant. You RTG, you guys are together an unstoppable force. But the thing is that if you're gonna take this title from me, it's gonna have to be in a one-on-one match, or it could be in a multi-man match if you guys all want to, fatal four-way it against me and then rock paper scissor it. But I highly doubt that's going to be the case. My vision says that it's going to be a one-on-one match, and if RTG, who of course has been talking a lot of crap about wanting this title, he wanted to take it from Swift. Well, unfortunately for you, I already did that. If you're going to plan on taking it from me, you're going to need to get in the best shape of your life, because I am not RJS. I am not BES. I am not Swift. So you're
No.
going to need to bring everybody in the Northwest Society to make this happen for you, because you alone, absolutely no match for me. It's not even.
Wow.
It's laughable.
It's getting interesting here already on Sportswire. Let me get to more comments from, I imagine, from Mr. RTG. Comatose ain't going to anything to my company, and soon enough, I'll be taking that Continental title off of him.
I am waiting for the day that I hear your guys' music, because Mr. Reverend Tom, I
Yes,
will
that's my
say
name.
this one thing.
What is my name?
Today is the day you have made me start thinking, and from here out, tomorrow,
Yes.
I'm definitely going to be thinking about the fact that you all are lurking in the background for sure.
Well, I mean, that's obviously could be some lurking to ponder. Mr. Matsuda would like to say, I see a dominant champion who doesn't seem to be anytime soon. That was pretty poetic. Also here, I did mention Big Man Kim at the very beginning because I mentioned you were a double champion. So correct. I did mention you was a double champion, and he does travel. He's in Ohio, and he does have his own promotion as well, all legendary wrestling. So he's in 4 to 5 promotions at the very least at the moment. And he's also editing and listening to some music at the same time. So thank you very much. And thank you. And yes, you never know. He's like 6'17" with the size 37 shoe. And like I said, you'd probably, you'd probably have to cook him 2 New York steaks, probably 3 baked potatoes, maybe 2 sides of bread, and maybe a full side of string beans to feed his needs. Because he's a he's a very big man. So make
and that
sure
would be
that
like an hour.
that would be a lot of work. Yes, it would be.
Yeah, it would.
Speak facts, Comatose. Speak facts. There you go. I'm a fellow. I mentioned Mr. LaFlame, and Mr. LaFlame is obviously in the great state of Mississippi. Wrestles via in places like Tennessee, Ohio at Summer Bash. He's the All Wrestling Matters champion. He's the Resurrection Internet champion. He was just in the finals of the Riot in the Ring, the Alliance Wrestling League he wrestled in, and yes, he's a man that might want to crack at your championship. I mean, there's a lot of people, as I see, I'm probably way behind in comments that might want you. And
Well,
Mr. LaFlame is a man that he has a following.
that could be promising right there. That could be one
Well,
hell
you
of a
got
match.
3,000 subs on YouTube, so that means people might want to check out a promotion with 3,000 subs. We'll
That is true.
see more. I see the globalization of the backyard and the underground circuit happening very soon. I agree with that. I do believe that there is a movement. I think that there are people. I interviewed somebody in Greece last year. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that they want to go out there and have a platform to go out there and do these things. And I think I'm here every single day and I hear the footsteps. I hear it from people. And I think that it will happen because it's already started. Good point. Yeah, I know the carbs are getting to my looks, but I'm cooking chicken and broccoli right now, no seasoning, so it's healthy. Well, sounds like Big Man Cam's going to be eating certainly, and he'll be enjoying that. Uh,
Heck yeah.
your mother, I would like to say, loves pasta and bread. Well, it looks like she doesn't. She seems to be doing pretty good, so I'm sure it's not bothering her too much. So she's happy. You're happy. We're all happy. I do too. That's my downfall. I'm forcing myself to eat healthier so I can feel better. Well, he's like 6'17", so he's just saying, oh, but he doesn't like his steak though. Well done. He likes it rare. I actually like mine well done because I'm going to tell you the reason. Because I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I remember as a kid one time my mother cooked a hamburger for me, and it was like rare, and it was like I got sick off the hamburger, and ever since then I will only eat meat well done because I was
Oh,
just the taste wasn't good, and it was like I just didn't feel well for a while after that. So since that moment, and I don't eat meat a lot to tell you the truth, but when I do, it's got to be well done for those reasons. And I think people could, certainly, I would hope sympathize because after all, I am the man here with the platform. But all I am is on Sportswire, so I don't eat anything at this point. This is just an AI version of me. I'm
oh,
too old to care anymore. I don't think that's going to be. I would say definitely not old. I would not say old at all there. I can't even chew the well done steak. Well, I can. I just won't be able to chew it enough. Well, you're a big man, Cam. I've said D'Angelo LaFlame 3 times just now, and he's not in my house. Myth busted. Yeah, because D'Angelo LaFlame, as I've said, says more about. I say more about him than anybody else. Let's see. Yoshi Matsuda says, say his name, and he appears. I believe in LaFlame. Even he said he knew who LaFlame was. But let me get to Mr. Delta because Mr. Delta has made his appearance. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope well as well. Congrats to Comatose. Man has had a hard life and still managed to become a triple champion. Do you or want to share something on what has made you into having a hard life and also making him a triple champion? And what's that? Talk to me about that. Why it's a hard life you've had?
um. Well,
You
I've
traveled a lot in backyard feds, and you've come here to
yeah,
win 3 titles. Okay,
definitely
good enough. I got it.
there. Yeah, and there's a lot of personal aspects in my life that have made
Well,
a
we don't have to talk about that stuff
yeah.
on air, but if you've done enough that you're in my room here now with 3 championships, we can move on.
Yes.
Also, say his name if he said that again. Yes, Jack Delta. Tom, I'm not trying to become diabetic. Well, I don't think you are trying to become diabetic, but I might become diabetic. And I'm glad Hillbilly Tilly agrees with me. I'm glad somebody says that they like their steak well done. What about you, actually? Do you cook your steaks well done and eat them well done? Or, you're obviously the.
So I actually have a confession. I cook almost all of my steaks well done.
Oh, you know what? This is why I had you on Sportswire tonight. It wasn't because you're the first triple promotional champion. It wasn't because you were going to talk about everything BTW. It's because you cook your meat well done like yours truly. So thank you for
Absolutely.
coming on. This is
Except
why
for
I've liked you. This
filet
is why I
mignon is
like you.
the only one I won't. That one you have to do filet mignon rare. There's just no other way to do it. But every other one, well done.
Well, I mean, I would say there's a famous steakhouse here in New York called Peter Luger's, and that the only way they cook the steak is medium rare. That's the only instance. It's a very famous. It's an old-time famous steakhouse here in New York. That's the only time I've only been there like I don't know, once or twice. And there's a very well known Jewish kosher steakhouse in New York, same reasons. And I go there for like once in a blue moon.
Makes sense.
And okay, 80% of my diet is meat. I had a bison steak for the first time this week, and it was excellent. Wow, a bison steak. I didn't even know what a bison. I'm learning something new every day. It wasn't about you being a triple champion that there's bison steaks. I have no idea, but there you go. There you have it. Same Big Man Cam is like 90% meat, but he stopped buying the processed stuff and made it, and it made a difference. Well, they always say you go to a butcher, you don't go to like a factory chain, but it's different here in New York, I'm sure, compared to other places. And management seems to like my points. I only eat organic meat. The difference is insane. Um, I love you all, but I'll die on the hill of the steak rare. Well, you know what? I'm not going to argue. You're 6 foot 17 with the size 39 size shoe, and you're basically as big as Bigfoot and a TikTok influencer. And you could do a TikTok video saying something that I said and make me look like an idiot, which I already am. So Big Man Cam
Oh,
is
no.
definitely going to get a pass on that one. I blame your father for that. I'm going to say no comment on that. I'm going to certainly say that I'm sure your father had good reason. And I'm sure he's here in the chat. We say hello to him or not, but the facts are is that Jack Delta likes his medium rare. Well done steak eaters will be at the table for a few hours chewing them. But I can tell you the truth. I don't eat steak very often. So you're talking to a guy that's not a big meat eater. Steak and rice goes hard, especially with a yuzu lemon pepper. I have heard lemon pepper and steak. That I have heard, I will say. Medium rare is still good too, just not as good as rare. Well, if you look at Peter Luger's Steakhouse, that's the way they make it. They're very legendary for that. Most of the meat in my diet is from a friend hunted ourselves. I appreciate it.
Wow.
It's not up common up north. Not at all. I mean, Big Man Cams in Ohio might be different, but I'm in New York City. Take a guess. Do we have hunters?
I wouldn't probably assume that
No,
actually.
no,
Not
no.
at
No,
all.
no. So obviously that's your answer. Okay, so obviously I got that out of the way. So let me ask you then. So you're the triple champion. I want to put some of the recent wins up on the screen in a second, but what are some of your goals currently now? Now that you're a triple champion, I know obviously keeping the titles, but what are some of your goals? I ask this to people all the time on Sportswire. And what are your goals then here for the rest of this year?
For the rest of this year, um, for the rest of this year, considering that this is really the first year that I have been backyard wrestling after a 4 year hiatus,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would say that the rest of this year is just simply building my name as big as I can get it, so that next year all the competition has no excuses after my name is known to face me.
How much did you miss wrestling in the 4 year hiatus?
I missed it a lot. There, I missed it a lot for sure because it is a distraction from very difficult times. I would say that like this, honestly, wrestling has saved my life in more ways than one that I can never repay for sure. So I missed it a lot.
What does wrestling mean to you?
Wrestling means everything to me. This industry means
Somewhat.
everything. Um, this what you're doing means everything to me. Connection means everything to me.
I
Building each
appreciate
other
that.
up means.
But I'm a small cog. Listen, you're going out there and wrestling. I don't know if I mean that much. I mean, I appreciate the kind
You,
words. I
you
hear that
appreciate
from
the
people all the time.
conversation. Without the conversation, because there are some people out there that are too shy to make the first move, if you know what I mean. And yeah,
Well, I can tell you, buddy, in my life here on this platform and outside of it, in the roles that I held, me and being shy and having trouble to make the first move, that would basically be zero chance of that. There is, I was basically a guy. I was told I was born with the charisma. Trust me,
I get to see it for sure. It's
yeah,
a
I
big.
was born with charisma. So I mean, I've had an interesting life. It's definitely been. I've had a lot of very successful things, but did you miss? I speak with a lot of people all the time in different things. I've interviewed Major League Baseball players. I've interviewed guys that play college basketball. I covered college basketball for a while. I'm friends with a lot of college
Ooh,
coaches. And when you were in the 4 years without wrestling, did you ever say to yourself, "I'm never going to come back"? And just talk to me that 4 year layoff.
um. So yeah, definitely at the very beginning, I was thinking that it was time that I move on from it because throughout the entire time when I was doing it, throughout growing up, it was just seen as childish, and people were, we were judged for it, and it was hard in school to continue doing it because people would see it. It's public. Schools are, little assholes. But um, after a while, I realized that no one's opinion really matters because no one in the world really knows what they're doing, and we're all just winging it. So, who is anyone to judge what I am doing? Trying to create my legacy the way I want to create it. When there's so many other people out there that are doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. And why am I continuing to care about this? That was near the end of the 4-year hiatus, but throughout the entire thing, I just beat myself down for it because I'm in a place where no one, Idaho is a place, my hometown is McCall in Idaho. It's a little
Hmm.
town with 2,000 people in it.
I was going to ask you, what is Idaho like? I speak with people all over the world, and I mean, I'm in New York City, and I don't know what a lot of these places are like. And what is Idaho like? What
It,
is that environment?
it's very old timey and very historic.
Hmm.
Um, Specific areas of it are way more harsh on the old timey tradition aspect of it for sure. Like this, a lot of Indians roamed around here and like cowboys and stuff.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Um, so there's a lot of old cowboy type dudes around here. There's a lot of Indian reservations around here. So the culture around here, it's kind of like if you took a picture of back in the day and you freeze framed it, that's kind of just how a lot of people's mindsets are here.
Hmm.
So, as a guy that is as young as I am, I'm 22 years old, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard to adapt with today's culture because today's culture is all about being progressive and, trying to build the future. And that's what
Yeah, I mean, it's listen, everybody's experiences are different, and you've obviously still have the whole world in your hands, to quote the late great Bray Wyatt. But 22 years old and a triple champion, 7 times a world champion, and you laid off for 4 years, and a lot of people would have said in between that period you would have just never came back, but yet you did, and I think that speaks to how much you miss this sport and how much you love it.
Yes, sir, it does indeed. I love it with a burning passion, and I love everybody that is doing it currently right now, laying their bodies on the line, doing this exact thing just to entertain people.
That's what it is. Listen, a lot of these guys go out there and they really put their blood, sweat, and tears out there. Hillbilly Tilly says it all the time. True yarders go out there for a love of this sport, and our friends in BTW definitely do that. And we love the great state of Idaho. And I've always thought about Idaho as a kid because of the Boise, Idaho potato. The
The big
Idaho
old potato.
potato.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I worked in a supermarket for about a cup of coffee, and I remember the potato section with the Idaho potatoes. It was always a big deal to get the Idaho potato. I remember when my mother used to cook when I was growing up in Brooklyn. It was always like, "Wow, we have an Idaho potato." It was like we really were going to have a good dinner that day because we had an Idaho potato, the Idaho state, the logo, and what a small world. I remember those days, and that was a different time, but that's okay.
That's
I could,
wonderful.
I yeah, well, I've had a lot of wonderful experiences like this one. Like I said, Ohio, I would have thought had hunters because the state of
Yeah,
Ohio, while it's diverse, does have a lot of hunting because Summer Bash was near a cattle farm in Bremen, Ohio. Idaho is beautiful. I am
it,
sure that that's the
it is.
case. I
It is.
I love all 50 states in this country, and I love all my supporters out there all over the world. I appreciate everybody out there. Thank you so much for your support. I can't thank you enough. Respect to Comatose for picking BTW to make a comeback in. So why did you make BTW the home for the comeback? That's a good question. Why did you choose BTW?
That is a question I've been waiting for a very long time.
Well, you're in the only platform that's in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, and your beautiful mom is watching and listening right now. So that's a great way to answer it.
So I just want to there. I've seen a lot of aspects of this industry, this circuit, and there are some aspects of it that are incredibly toxic.
Okay. Talk to me.
and I wanted to go somewhere where I felt like if I'm going to watch them on screen and feel like that they are one as a family, like off camera in the locker room, everything is good.
Mhm.
That's where I want to go. I don't want to go somewhere where I'm going to be judged based off of how I look, based off of how I talk, based off of how I act, my past. I don't want any of that. I want to go to a place that is completely comfortable, and that is exactly what BTW has been so far. Regardless of some people's opinions, I'm going to move quickly past that and just say that this is a place that is, it feels like a family. It feels warm. It feels welcoming. And I encourage other people that are looking for another place to wrestle, another place to even just bond with people that are like minded like yourself. I encourage you to come to BTW. Absolutely.
Well, I think that's important to note as we're speaking with Comatose, who's the BTW Interpromotional TV and Continental Champion. He'll be in action tomorrow in Season 6, Episode 128 against Redhead. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. And if you're here for the first time, hit that sub button for us at Sportswire Radio 6579. We're also on TikTok at Sportswire Radio, Twitch at Sportswire Radio. And if you are looking for more coverage, this is the only platform that will give you that and some. But I think that's important. As I said, I've interviewed a lot of college athletes. I've interviewed a lot of college coaches. And even in the world of athletics, it's always said if the team does well, it's because it's a family atmosphere. It's a
Absolutely.
family environment. It's where that's how you guys are all going to be successful. So I think the reason that BTW is going into its 9th year is because of the fact it has a family environment and a family atmosphere, which is why the doors are open. And if you'd like to be able to get in touch and work with some of the talents like RJS, Swift, BES, RTG, and it's 6 to 8 month runs, and it's one of the best weekly shows running in the art, one of the more longer ones. And if you want to message, you can certainly DM or go on Instagram, Ryan_RJS if interested. So there you have it. So that might be a good way to do that. So that's why you've made BTW your home, even though you're still a free agent.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, yeah. For right now, definitely. I've
Okay.
for definitely right now. I'm considering signing there. I want to see how this run does for sure. Um, there have been other federations that I have thought about going to as well. I just, you know, BCW is a lot closer to where I live.
Sure. I mean, obviously, Big Man Cam works for XCW in Indiana. He's their New Age champion. He is also the CBW World Champion, which is also, I think it's pretty much in Indiana. I mean, it was once upon a time, not so much in Indiana, but it's really an Indiana fed. He also works for ROEW, which is in Michigan, which is where my esteemed colleague, who is James Taylor, who's the man I bought the Promo Wrestling Federation from. He's the host of the Nemesis Sessions. He runs that company in Michigan. Hillbilly Tilly's in Alabama. So there's a lot of, promotions here that I'm sure that you might want to explore. But for now, BTW sounds like a place that you've got pretty much your hands occupied with.
Uh, for right now, there could definitely be other opportunities out there. Absolutely. I wouldn't say that it's the only place that I could have my hands occupied with because, you know, I'm coming back into this and I'm very hungry. I'm
I could
starving.
see that. You got 3 championships, and you can see you're very hungry. And yeah, it's a family run business. And I think that that's a key to anything in life that's successful. You have to have a good atmosphere. You have to have it something good. And your mom will like to say Oregon is the best, right? BTW, and she puts the because they're in Oregon, you're in Idaho, but I'm pretty sure Idaho and Oregon actually are like pretty close because there's one part of Oregon I think that's literally like right next to Idaho, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, actually, they are neighboring states for
Yep,
sure.
yep.
It's about, I would say, a 9 hour drive from where I live right now to BTW.
Wow, 9 hours. So you now
Yeah.
you do the 9 hour drive then.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, wow. I'll tell you what, that's intense. That's pretty
It,
intense.
it's intense, but I not a big fan of the constant going on airplanes and the turbulence. I have a lot of head trauma, and I want to save that
Oh,
for the.
no, I appreciate that. Listen, I tell the story sometimes on the air. I was a kid the one time my parents and I we took a vacation. My parents didn't go on many vacations because growing up, I grew up in Brooklyn, and it was what it was. It was, my father struggled and my mother worked at times, didn't work, trying to raise a family. And we didn't really get to go on vacations. And the one time we did go on a vacation, we went to Florida and the plane wouldn't land back to JFK. Oh, it was LaGuardia. Wouldn't land to LaGuardia for like over 3 hours. So like since that moment, I'm like terrified to go on a plane. This had to have been, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, something like that. And I just remember, all I remember was the plane was circling. So since that moment,
It's just stuck with you.
I'm like petrified to go on a plane. So I haven't been on a plane, but that's a different conversation for a different time. I want to talk to you about, obviously, a few other things in BTW before I present to you something. So I want to put this on the screen, and I want to get this here because I want to show the audience what happened here in your most recent match that you were able to win. And let me put that up on the screen. I have this here. I'm going to go like this, and then I should be able to connect it right now. And if you want to follow Comatose, I'm going to put some other links up here shortly. So bear with me. So thank you very much for that. So we've got this up on the screen. So we're going to watch a little bit of this and tell me what we're going to see, because you certainly had the odds stacked against you in order to claim here this victory on the 4th of July.
Yes. So this match right here, this was one of the two matches right off the bat that I was told that I would have been a part of, that I was anticipating to be taking part in, because
Okay.
BTW knows me quite well with our history. Even before I joined this company, they were a part of a mega show called BYW Mania, and that's how we met. But BCF, which is Steven Storm and his boys, they
Yep.
they hadn't a clue about me. They never met me. They had no idea what to expect. So that one I knew. I'll just exit off real quick, become the television champion, and I walk into this match, of course, television champion, as I prophesized throughout the entire time that I have been in BTW. And you will see that very, very shortly after, of course, the first competitor comes out. But going into this match, I knew I had to absolutely not only be on my A game, but mentally be here 200%, not even just 150, not even just 100%. I had to be on it 200% because I'm going into the ring with the BCF world champion that I just freshly beat for the BTW television championship. He has a vendetta against me already. I'm going against this man right here, Swift, the beast of the backyard.
Yep.
Who was the continental champion. And of course, he was the continental champion for a reason. He's taken all comers. He's a feared man in the yard. He's been against the likes of Jack Delta, the likes of RJS, the likes of BES. He's been around.
Yep.
And then
the name I've heard before. Swift, I've definitely heard the name before. Yep.
Definitely. And then, of course, Jacob Frost, who is another
name. I've definitely heard of Jacob Frost.
Yeah, I was about to say another
I
name.
definitely have heard of Jacob Frost. I can tell you his name has definitely come up on this platform.
Which I actually did not know that. That's wonderful to know.
I think a lot of people know at this point, and Jack Delta's even said it. There's some guys that come on here, and he was like, well, you give them chances. And I said, well, we are all wrestling matters. So there are some people that come on here, not you, obviously, because we're having a really, really good show here, but there are some people that come on here, and it's like, they're here, but what do you think? Yeah, they really shouldn't either be in the yard or they shouldn't be on the platform. But we are here, and we're not there, and I'm watching you, and you're about to take part in some action for the audience.
Action right here, yes, with Swift, of course, which
Yep.
I was anticipating another rematch of our lockup from when I debuted in this company in the BTW Rumble 8 back in I do believe it was April. Of course, I did not win the tie-up because he's freaking called the Beast for a reason. I mean, he could throw
nice
around.
Little bulldog. They had nice little running bulldog there.
I do appreciate that. I've been working on my game for a little bit. I actually have never tried that move before, so I thought, let's let's bring out some new stuff for actual
Now,
one.
how about this view here? I mean, this is rather fascinating. You have
A
like
view.
what is
I would have to say it's one of the most beautiful places to wrestle. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Is there high elevation also?
So there can definitely be some high elevation. It just depends because the town's actually built on the side of hills, actually.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
it just depends on what part of the town you're in. This one is definitely higher elevated.
And we're in Oregon right now currently?
So right now I am actually in Idaho, but right
Right.
here in this video we're in
Yeah.
Roseburg, Oregon. Absolutely.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So, wow.
And then of course we got Steven right here, the
A
more
man you've obviously defeated.
absolutely a multitude of times.
Yep.
I don't want to be disrespectful to you, Mr. Steven, but that would be 3-0 BCF and Comatose.
Steven looks like he's mad just there.
Yeah, he might be still a little sore. He might have been still a little sore in this match, to be honest. I mean, it was 4 days after our Mania match. Just speared the hell out of him 3 times, and he came back in his 6-man elimination match. I mean, I got to give him respect for that. So right here, of course, you got the beast of the yard taking all of us out with a suicide dive. Which
And I'll tell you what I want to say for the audience. We would, people say different things about trampoline, and I bring sometimes promotions on that wrestle in it. But this is like, maybe it's the competitors, but this is a little bit more, I would say, one of the more higher quality trampoline type of feds I see, because without going into it, there are feds that come on here in a trampoline, not obviously Mr. Matsuda. He's a totally different ballgame, but there's a few feds or two that come on in a trampoline, and the level of competition is, I mean, it's pedestrian. Let me be very nice, but you guys all have, at least from what I'm seeing, a high level of competition. Do you feel the same way? There's a high level of basically athleticism here in this.
in BTW,
Yeah.
absolutely. For sure. I would definitely say there's quite a few guys in BTW that I would say have definitely earned their status in the wrestling scene, for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm seeing here. That's why, like, I was really excited to have you here, because I know I watch a lot of wrestling, and this I think is, really, this is high quality for what compared to some other things that we put on this platform. What'll be here? Certainly
Really,
not Osiris and AJ Morgan tomorrow, but there will be Craven Rage, and that will not be really much of quality. But it's a different conversation for a different time. But you're definitely in a little trouble right now. Yeah, Craven Rage is a topic, an interesting topic on this platform, but I'm sure the BTW universe is more focused on what
on
was
this.
here. Yeah, we're obviously in some trouble here, but you get back up, and yeah,
Absolutely. And then we
that
do
was
a
a
double
nice
move
little
right
move there. How about that? That was actually, I know it's unfortunate at your expense, sort of, but that was a good move.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the goal was just to take the big man down because Mad Jack is quite a big dude, honestly. Like the guy we were just talking about, joking, making all that food for. He's one of those
Yes,
guys.
big man Cam. Yes, good
Man
old
Cam,
big man
yeah.
Cam.
So he's one of those guys, like a big man Cam, that you just see in real life, and you think that guy could probably eat me, in one bite. Like,
Yeah, that
like
would pretty much sum up good old big man Cam. But yeah, we see here Mad Jack is definitely mad. He's definitely
definitely
mad.
mad, grounding and pounding me, of course. Swift, I will have to say I am very thankful for, because he actually stayed by my side quite a lot in this match when these BCF boys came out, because, just like the Northwest Society, the BCF boys like to stick together like it's a little college frap, and they like to attack when weakness is shown. So, of course, you see uh, Swift on the ground, and then me in the ring. Both of them are going to attack me because they have a vendetta against me for, whatever reason, because I just keep beating them and they're mad about it, I guess. And then Swift really just stayed by my side, but showed what type of competitor he is. He believes in honor and respect, and, everything being fair competition, unlike, of course, Mickey D here.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I want to say hello to my buddy Justin Parsley, who's my champion, my PWF champion, and He's going to be
Absolutely.
inducted into the Hall of Fame coming up Saturday for a fourth time. But you're in a match with this many competitors. How do you prepare for something like this? How are you able to, hang in a match like this? What is the strategy? Talk to me about that.
So the strategy to me was, do not focus on what you already know, but focus on what you have not already been in the ring with. And of course, since I've already been in the ring with pretty much every single one of the BCF boys, I knew what to expect from them right off the bat at this point. However, Swift, I've only been in one match with, which was the Rumble match. And of course, it's a Rumble match. You're focused on a lot more of the.
Yeah. I just watched a Rumble. Justin won
Yeah,
one. I've been talking Rumble since I'm blue in the face. I got the Rumble
yeah.
strategy. This is a
And then,
little
of course,
different.
Jacob Frost, which I actually had never even been in the ring with up to this
Wow,
point.
and that's a name. That's a known name, and you're never been in the ring with him. You probably heard of him, watched him on YouTube, and never been
Definitely.
in the ring with him.
Definitely. I have seen his feud with Swift. I've seen how absolutely dangerous and how absolutely intelligent he is. That's the one thing I respect about Jacob Frost the most is his intelligence when it comes to actually
You know,
being on the fly in the
I,
ring.
I got to make you chuckle, and I don't know if the BTW guys if they're gonna chuckle with me. Has anybody ever said to yourself, "Hey, you know what? Maybe I jumped down that way and I could land on the mountain or something"? Anybody ever said that to themselves?
I thought about it the entire time I was there. To be honest, I just wanted to jump off the entire side and see where I could land, like the entire time, or even just make a spot out of it. Just throw someone off and see how far they get and how far you can get, and make a really good spot out of it. Like,
I just was like, I got to ask this question. I don't know if it'll come off the right way. I'm sure those in BTW will have an opinion on that. And we see Mr. Frost, he's coming out there, and he's definitely Frosty himself. And we
oh yeah,
see here now it's getting on here.
now it's getting on, and it's getting to be a fair fight because, of course, like Swift, even though they are arch rivals in this company, freaking Swift comes out with the mindset that it's us versus BCF, and what we're gonna do is we're all gonna team up against BCF until the real competition is the only ones left in the ring. Of course, BCF is formidable when they're all
Yep.
together,
Yep.
and it's a 6-man process of elimination match, which means you could use weapons. So their specialty is using weapons, and they're gonna do that like they're doing right now, except when they turn on each other, like he's doing right now.
And I want to say hello to my buddy who was literally, I mean, this man must live in a wrestling ring, Mr. D Savage, who was just wrestling. He was wrestling on a show with the Fatu. Had to have been what, like 4 hours ago. He's probably just still in the ring. He would like to say, "What up, boys?" And Mr. D Savage from 814 Wrestling NEW is wrestling my landlord of Sportzwire Radio, Mr. Mac 10's in the house. And congratulations, D Savage, on the victory. I'm looking forward to seeing you back on this platform in a couple of weeks, although you'll always be here in the chat. But my good friend, my Boston Celtics friend, but obviously you're watching this and you're feeling like you're got some momentum here.
I absolutely do, especially right here as I pick up the notorious fork that Mad Jack likes to stab.
Yes, I did notice that on prior shows. I did notice the fork.
Yeah. So I wanted to give him a little taste of his own medicine and you just jab it right in his freaking eye.
Well, that's going to leave a mark.
That will definitely leave a mark, hopefully, and hopefully it will render him a lot weaker, so I can continue to have a little less competition holding 3 titles.
Well, you know what? You're standing on top, and you're
And then
about
I
to.
do, of course, a suicide dive right on top of everybody, and I'm feeling really confident at this point, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you got them all down. Everybody's kind of just chaos has descended, and that's kind of as a shorter guy with a little bit more probably endurance and what you can probably do probably gives you an advantage because these bigger guys, I would tend to think, champ, tend to wear down after a while.
I would definitely say so that they would for sure. And it's not only that; it's just bigger guys are big guys, and they're slower. So don't let them grab a hold of you, and please make sure you take them out first because if you make it a one-on-one with someone like Mad Jack right here, I don't know, it could have been a whole different outcome. that's a
Well,
big, that's a big guy.
Very big guy. He's definitely big. He's mean, big, and he's mad. And
Hit me in the
we see Swift and we see Jacob Frost there, and you're down, and you're getting pummeled. And
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, it got me in the clutch. And then Swift is going to throw his buddy right on to Mad Jack, the one of the shorter one, Mr.
Yep.
McDonald's himself.
Yep.
Thank goodness, because at that moment, I was hoping something would happen because that is a lot of pressure on my lower back for sure.
And boy, I looks like was that a chain there that Frost?
Absolutely. Yep, that he wrapped right around his fist, and I started just hammering people with it.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, we're about to see another kind of, I guess, suicide dive, some type of springboard. And
Yeah,
we
like
see
stuff
Swift.
the springboard elbow a lot.
It looks like I guess, a lid to some type of aluminum pan that that didn't work, and there was some wood that went off.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. Throwing it straight in his face because, I mean, if you're going to use an aluminum pan that's going to bend, I'm going to use something that's going to bend the aluminum pan.
and we're about to see, for the audience, definitely pay attention to what's about to happen, because this is going to be rather interesting. But it comes back here for now into the ring, and you try to trade some shots with Mr. Mad Jack.
Oh
But,
yeah.
And you're hanging in there, and you hit him with you hit him there, and but then Storm comes in, obviously breaks up the pin, and we see it now. He's kicking you rather gingerly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course,
Now it's all yep. Go ahead.
Now it's a bunch of chaos everywhere within the ring, and everyone's just trying to figure out what the hell's going on right here. And honestly, at this point, I'm just trying to weaken all the BCF guys so I can eliminate one of them, just one of them. Which
did you ever? Was that your strategy, champ, going into this?
So the strategy was just to eliminate the weaker links first, so I could focus on the heavy hitters later and exert the energy I need to exert.
Mad Jack, Frost, I got that, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I eliminated Mad Jack. He's out of here, and so now it's just Mickey D, Frost, Swift, me, and Steven.
Well, still 5 of you. You guys are still around, obviously.
Absolutely. There's still 5 of us, but right here, he hits the Swiftinator, and I eliminates Steven Storm. So now there's only 4 of us. Mickey D, Swift has him in a ankle lock of sorts, and he was asking me to come help him. And so what I do, of course, the smart thing.
Hey, listen, if you can eliminate somebody else, make a deal, go out there, and it helps both sides. Now, listen, it's part of the game.
Absolutely. And now, as I was planning, all the heavy hitters are the only ones left. So from here, if it got to this point, which I'm glad that it did, these two are in a heated rivalry.
Yep.
So what
you're thinking they're going to kill each other, so you could kind of pick up the pieces and maybe skate by here.
I wouldn't necessarily say skate by, but I would definitely say make it more of an even playing field, because BCF came in with a vendetta against me and they were just beating the hell out of me.
But I think obviously if they're going to fight it out, you would certainly still feel like you could be able to get by and be able to pull this one out.
Definitely. When I knew the moment was right, absolutely, I feel like that would be the best way to get my hands on 3 titles simultaneously, for sure. Which we are going to see right here is if that plays out. Of course, I want my one-on-one with Jake Frost right here, but of course he gets the better of me and wraps me up for I don't even know what he calls that, but it hurt like hell, and he rolled me up.
But you found a way to kick out.
Absolutely, I did.
I guess it was kind of a styles clash mixed with a pile driver, a tombstone, but
yeah, I forgot what he called it, but it was it definitely dazed me a bit. I'm surprised that I kicked out myself. I felt my head ring, but we've managed to get kicked out, and they speared the hell out of him.
Well, I think the ref. I don't know what the ref was waiting for here, but
The ref right here. See, they're cooters. So what I'm gonna have to say about that is they're a little special.
well, I'm gonna say we'll move on from that
Yeah,
because that's obviously what it was. But we'll certainly see what's about to unfold here.
that
And
that would be the bitter end Swiftinator
yep.
on Jake, and now it's just me and Swift. And I want you to pay very close attention to Swift right there.
Yes, sir.
I saw that. I was looking straight at him. See him holding his back right there. So I knew what the game plan was from there. You target the weakness. And of course, he's already tired. He already just had to deal with his nemesis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit him where it
Go
hurts.
attack him where he's most vulnerable, so you can pick up the pieces and be able to get what you need to be able to walk away with this victory in this championship.
Absolutely. But my thing here is I don't just want to pick up the pieces.
You
And
want to make sure you send a message.
I want to send a message for sure. And that's exactly what I'm about to do right here to Swift because I respect the hell out of Swift. But the thing is,
All is fair in love and war.
Wallace fair in love and war? And honestly, what is a beast to a king in the yard? And so I spear him straight through the table.
A king is mortal once a beast is through with a king. King is mortal.
The king is mortal. That is very true. But the king has control of this beast right here, and the king is about to humble the beast in a way he has never been humbled before. Not only in possibly one of the biggest matches of my life, but in front of his biggest rival.
And July 4th, on July 4th,
On July
Independence Day,
4th,
fireworks, America's birthday, 248th birthday.
I make
Being
him
from a
tap out.
military family, nonetheless. And you go out there and win yet another championship. What a moment. And you've done it. You're on top. And you found a way, despite all those competitors, all those obstacles, and not even working as a BTW signed roster member. You walk away with yet a third championship. A third championship, ladies and gentlemen. A third.
3 of them.
And you know what? That's a good time because now that I'm seeing you on top with that third championship, and obviously you find a way to walk away and continue to do all these things, and you've obviously been an important person to be with tonight. And obviously, yep, he's going to open up the show for the next one. Thank you for that. But
Absolutely.
it's a good time that I have something for you, sir, that I would like to present to you because it's your lucky day. You're about to get something here for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio. And since you have been able to find a way to win your third championship in a small amount of time, I'm about to put something up on the screen that will congratulate you. And for all the things that you're doing, I just have to wait for the magic of technology to allow this to pull up. I'm going to take this off the screen here. This should help us here because I'm waiting for this to process. Only this for whatever reason, it would be up on the screen right now. And I don't know why it's still loading, but while we wait for it to load, which it should load any minute, if you are out there, please support BTW. There's a bunch of ways you can do that for BTW. Check them out on TikTok. Check them out on Instagram. Check them out on YouTube. They got almost 3,000 subscribers. Please support them. Do all things related to the world here of BTW. They got a big show tomorrow. The champion's going to be actually going to be up against Redhead. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice. Figuratively and literally, we're all wrestling matters. And if you are on Sportswire Radio, hit that sub button for us. And when we get to a bunch of comments, because for whatever reason, it's just taking like way longer. It usually takes like 15 seconds. And I don't know why that is, but it'll load up eventually. Before I do that, let me put some comments. Thanks for viewing the special. I enjoyed it the first time, and I enjoyed it the second time. Want to say hello to Apex Predator. How you doing there, my friend? Hope you were doing well.
What's up, Blade?
Definitely doing well, and I hope that Mr. Blade is enjoying the conversation. Also, D Savage wants to say make friends and then betray them. Best multi-man strategy. I agree. Management agrees with that. I'm going to try this again, and I'm going to see if this will work. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to pull this up to the screen, and I probably could view it if anything, I can view it in a different way. But we're gonna go take this off the screen, this off the screen, and this should free up enough space for me to put this up on the screen. Let's try it now. Let's this. There you go. That'll work. Nope. Now it's not. I can't even see anything. Oh, this is the problem. I see. Okay, so we're gonna take this off. I'm gonna go like this, and I don't even know why I can't see anything. Nope, that's not it. They're gonna take this off the screen. I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go press. There you go. All right, now let's see if this will work. So let's see one more time. If anything, I'll play it through the email. I'd hate to do it through email. It won't have the same effect. But let's try it one more time for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire. One more thing. Let me get to a few more comments. I'm glad that your mom is enjoying the episode. I think when I put this up on the screen, it'll obviously tie up a few other things. I'm good man. I'm enjoying sitting back, listening to this, and watching you kick ass and take names in BTW. And you have definitely been doing that here and some, that's for sure. No question about that. And I think I'm gonna just put it up on the screen this way because it'll have the same effect. So we're gonna give me 1 second. For whatever reason, my computer is acting up a little bit. So let's go like this. Let's go like that, as I think it'll come up. So we're going to go put the share my screen, and I'm going to go like this. Now it'll finally work. Give me 1 second. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go to my email, and there we go. Okay, now it'll pop up. Okay, so we're going to go like this. And voila, do you see
wow.
what's on the screen now? So for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire, let me zoom into it because usually the screen works a lot better, but this will work a little bit better. So now I think you'll see it a little better. Yeah, you should be. Let me take this off. Let me
Oh,
take this off so we can put it up on the screen.
that
I'm
is
gonna take
awesome.
this off. Yeah, you can see it, but I want to let the audience to see it. That's why I'm a little upset right now because my StreamYard, where I can share my screen. Actually, you know what? Let me take this off the screen because I actually figured out exactly how I'm gonna play it. I got even a better angle. I just realized I can do it through here. Give me 1 second. I got
Got
the audience. I know the audience is killing me because they're like, "Where is it? What is he? What are we looking at?" Now I got it here. Now I'm gonna have it. All right. So much better. It's going to be a much better angle. Now I just realized how I can present it. 2 seconds. I got the best angle for maybe the best one that anybody else has seen on this. There we go. All right, much better. Now I think the audience can see it a lot better. Right now you see it better because
Oh
you
hell,
officially now are for being the first triple champion in one promotion to come on Sportswire Radio. We have given you a nice little certificate of appreciation. I signed it with my John Hancock. We've put the date. And congratulations. The audience, I think, can see this a little bit better now. So that's much better because for whatever reason, my freaking computer's not working on the PDF, but this looks a lot better. So there you have it. We wanted to give you something. You're the first triple champion in one promotion to come on Sportswire Radio. We want to congratulate with this. You just send me your email when we're off the air, and we'll
absolutely.
take care of that. And congratulations, my friend. You've definitely earned it. You've definitely done it the hard way, and you've definitely put your opponents in a comatose state. And that's why you've got 3 championships. And the irony of this is you got 3 championships in one promotion for a promotion you don't even work for. So I think that's pretty much pretty awesome. And your mom liked it, so that's always good. Want to make sure she's happy. And Comatose is always and always will be my brother. Congratulations for the award. I haven't been in the ring since 2019. I've said it once, and I'll always say it. If it wasn't for my boy Comatose, Blade would not exist. He gave me a chance, and I'll be forever grateful for that. What does that mean to you when you hear that?
That means a lot to me, honestly, because I really do appreciate the people that I have tried my best to put out there that I feel as if deserve a name in the circuit in backyard wrestling entirely. And to hear that I have helped someone and to hear that it's one of my closest friends, I am forever grateful that you have been a part of my journey. Thank you so much.
Well, you know what? You're here tonight, and I think that BTW is getting a moment tonight. I think that there's obviously been, a lot of people, a nice steady flow of people that have been here. And I think that we're getting a chance to talk about this product. And I think that obviously, BTW is always welcomed here on Sportswire. I think that we are about all wrestling matters. There's some really good talents here. And, the door is always open here with me. And I'd obviously like to continue that. There's obviously anybody is, always welcome to be here. And I don't anticipate this being the only appearance. And I wanted to give you something special first. I'm sure we'll get more guys in the locker room to come on, so I'll keep this on the screen. And tell me then, if you had one or two moments in your career that stand out most, what would they be?
To stand out most,
One or
honestly,
two
I
moments.
would have to say, ooh, that's a really tough one. Okay. So I'm going to have to say this moment right here would have to be number 2,
Okay.
winning, becoming the triple champion. I would have to say would definitely be number 2.
I think that's a pretty big moment. I think to be a triple champion, that's
I would say
very
so.
difficult.
Winning the main event of BYW Mania 2 is still number 1 for me, because BYW Mania was a show that me and a group of friends built off our backs, and it blew up because of us.
And wasn't there a guy that a lot of people know right now, and Mr. Delta knows this guy James Fury? Wasn't he a part of that too? Right?
Absolutely. Yes, he was.
Wasn't good old James Fury a part of it? A man that I actually know, not through Jack Delta. I know him from the independent wrestling circuit. He's a big deal in the independent wrestling circuit. And he was a part of BYW Mania 2. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely. I would definitely have to say I believe he was a part of the 3 it was a 3 titles match, I do believe he was a part of. It was
Xavier King, Joe
yeah,
Erebus, right? Am I
yes,
wrong on that?
for they all 3 had titles. It was a 3 Kings match, I do believe they called it. Yes, that match was on that show that I main evented. And that's why that show will not forever, I would say, because there's definitely something that could happen in this company that would push it over the top of that. But as of right now, it's winning the main event of BTW Mania 2 with James Fury being on the card, with BTW being on my undercard, with people like Joe Razor being on my undercard. Yep. Absolutely. That would definitely have to be my number 1 for right now. And I won in that main event, so that's a good one. And then, of course, crowning myself a triple champion for the first time in my career, for the first time in BTW's history, and thank you, by the way, for the first time in Sportzwire Radio's history. Being a triple champion almost anywhere I go, it's just, right now it just seems like it's a lot of first time in history everywhere I've been going. So I'm very grateful for it right now.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you know that James Fury was going to go out and become as big as he's been? He's legitimately become like a very respected wrestler in the circuit. Did you know that? I mean, obviously Jack has a long-standing relationship because he's from down that road with him, but did you know?
I didn't know the magnitude. I will say that I thought all 3 of them could make it very far in the indie scene, in the pro scene as well. I absolutely did think that they could make it far, but I did not at all see how far James Fury was going to go. I think it's incredible how far he has gotten in the pro scene, to be honest with you.
But that also, I think, makes people feel good that he was a yarder.
Yeah,
and he's made it. There's this stigma, even earlier tonight, somebody says, oh, Matsuda was on a trampoline. Okay, and what? The Hardy Boys were in the backyard. Mick Foley was in the backyard. The Undertaker was in the backyard. Yeah. You're gonna go tell them that? You're gonna go tell them now because it's all the same BS. It's the same keyboard warriors, the same fill in the blanks, and these people, meanwhile, they can't come on and cut a promo. They can't do anything. They can't do this. They can't do that. And you know what? And that's really the thing. And it's what it is. And I found something that is a part of your history that I put on for the audience right here. You remember this?
I do remember this. Backyard Warfare. I do believe this is the first Backyard Warfare. This is the last match in WWC history. This was in Pooler, Georgia. So this match was very significant because here I am right now. I do believe I'm walking in the WWC heavyweight champion. This was one of those other big interpromotional shows that we tried doing, like BYW Mania, but this was like the how you would say the SummerSlam of the WrestleMania. Um, so I'm walking in champion against who you could say is definitely one of the most feared people in WWC's history, in my history, because he's one of those really, really big guys. But the difference with this really, really big guy is that he's athletic as shit. So I'm fairly confident in my own abilities. Here I am walking in, yes, heavyweight champion of WWC for the very last time in the history of WWC. This is the very last match. Whoever walks out of this match walks out the last champion in WWC history. So I knew the stakes were high in this match as well. This is not one of my more proud moments, but at the same time, it was one of my more, one of my more remembered matches with one of my more remembered rivals in the entire history of my yarding experience. Sean and me in WWC are like this. Like, we've been the top two guys in we were the top two guys in WWC pretty much the entire time, if it wasn't named Deadman or Sub-Zero. And here we go to tie up. I can't believe you played this. This is.
Well, you know what? I have a lot of tricks up my sleeve. There's a lot of things.
I was about to say, this is nostalgic. This is awesome.
I mean, we won't watch the whole thing, but we'll watch some of it. But, I mean, it's here. And obviously, Blade would like to say Sean was a tough opponent. I faced him at BYW Mania 2. I won, and that's where I became the Legend Killer.
The Legend Killer. That is very true. He did face him at BYW Mania 2 in the opening match. They had a 50-minute just straight brawl.
Yeah, I had Anthony Arias on, who on Friday was talking about being in an Iron Man match, but I don't really think I want to put Anthony Arias in the same category as Blade and Sean, if I could be honest. I mean,
I don't know this Anthony Arias too well, but I will.
He's the guy with the backyard wrestling Nexus. You know, have you heard of the Nexus?
Yes, I do.
I don't want to. I mean, I like some of the things with the Nexus, but there's like, I'm truly trying to. I had Aaron Blaze on here, and I'm really trying to like bite. He was in the Nexus. I'm trying to like. Let me just say that the Nexus is a good idea. Some of it, I think, is like where they say everybody's got the same talent, and in the backyard, all of it's toxic. I don't agree with any of that by a stretch and a mile. But they work with us on Sportswire. Let me leave it at that.
That makes complete sense. Well, I'm not going to disrespect them and say that they're
I like a lot of their people come on here, but it's
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to bite my tongue. But if you watch the level of competition that some of them are in compared to what we've seen today and the opponents today and competitors you've been in the ring with, it would probably be a slap in the face to like BTW and some others that would say to be put in the same sentence and all yarders are the same. Let me just put it that way.
That makes complete sense. Absolutely.
And Mom's saying the old Georgia neighborhood.
Yeah, I know. It's memories. This was like, I can't even remember, like 2016 or 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Blade misses the neighborhood.
I miss that neighborhood too. Absolutely. It was that was a nice neighborhood. That was really good.
Yeah, look, a nice suburban, I would say middle-class neighborhood, I would definitely say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We this is when we started really stuff started going well for my family.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy that it went well.
I really appreciate that too. And and right now I'm just so blown away from where we're at right now compared to where we were when I was like a little tiny baby. I'm so proud of my entire family. Shout out to my
family's doing. Shout out to who? Who would you like to give a shout out to?
My entire family for making it as far as they have. You guys have done amazing. We've come from the ground up, and the Heath Nation, Brown Nation. we're just completely.
No, listen, I think that's great. Listen, I think that I'm happy your family's done well. Yes, contrary to people's beliefs, I do want people to succeed. And I definitely think that it's good. I always want people to be successful, and a lot of people here tonight watching you. I think that speaks a lot of volumes. That a lot of people are here on YouTube, and people are enjoying it. And if I could give people a little bit of joy and bringing back memories, and you're definitely doing that here, and people are enjoying the moment. And yeah, Georgia was looks like a nice place.
Yeah, George. There was definitely a lot of good memories in Georgia. There's just like any other place. There's the not so good parts, but it's the people, of course, that were around me that shaped me into the man that I am now. That
Okay.
made that
Well, that's
whole.
good. No, listen. I mean, you're in Idaho. You're happy, and Georgia made you. You had some good moments, and you're watching. You're watching this all unfold. We'll spend a little more time on it because I realize I can't watch every single match you've had because people
Oh
will be
no,
like,
no, and that's completely
I'm
and that's
sure we'll watch more in the future. But I mean, obviously, what was the being a part of BYW Mania? What did that mean to you?
honestly from the very first show. I didn't know. I was excited because I knew that like most of the opportunities I try taking, it would get my name out there. It would help let people know who I am and what my message is and what I want for the community. And BYW Mania was a huge stepping stone in my career. And I could definitely say without BYW Mania, I don't even think I'd be in BTW. That could be a false statement that I just said. I do want to clarify, but without BYW Mania, in my opinion, a lot of things would not have happened for my career. And so I am forever thankful to people like Mr. Awesome and Joe Razor and Evan Starr and even Ricky Shade, who I had off camera problems with. I do have appreciation for all of you guys because without you guys accepting me into your guys' little circle, I wouldn't have been able to go into different circles, to expand my horizons, and to actually be a voice that matters to some people in this world. So I thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to piggyback off what Mr. Comatose was as a comment from Mr. Blade. I'm sure you'll be a BY. I don't know if there's a BYW Hall of Fame. I mean, the Nexus has a Hall of Fame, but I'm not going to get into that. But I'll tell you what who has a Hall of Fame, and well, I mean, yours truly has a Hall of Fame. And how about you want to go into the Sportswire Hall of Fame?
I would be more than honored to do that, and I would try to hold back tears.
Well, don't cry on my platform because then I will obviously turn into like some shows you've seen when I went off on people. So
No, I
don't do that.
completely understand.
Don't do that on the audience. You have a lot of people here, but I'll tell you what, I will put you in the Sportswire Hall of Fame next month. I will put you in the Hall of Fame next
Oh,
month.
dude, oh, you're amazing.
Of course, we'll put you back in the Hall of Fame, but you can't cry on me. If you cry on me, I'm going to take away the Hall of Fame. All right?
Won't
If you
do
do
it.
that,
I
if you
most
cry
will
on me,
not.
I said, don't do that on me.
I will not. I promise. I thank you for checking me on air. I appreciate
No,
it.
trust me. I do this all the time, but obviously BYW was very successful. What was that? What was your impressions then on things like Summer Bash, the Riot in the Ring, and these other things that have popped up? What do you think? What was your opinions on them? Did you think you would see things like that? Obviously, you were a part of BYW Mania. You've
Yeah.
seen some of those things from years ago, but there's
So,
been kind of this reboot with Summer Bash. What was your impressions on that then?
so Summer Bash in my company was a big deal because that was one of the first big matches that I was ever a part of in my career. That was a unification of our two main titles, which was actually me versus Sean. So there's a lot of companies out there that use the title Summer Bash and they just actually perform. And honestly, I feel like it brings me a lot of joy, honestly, to see so many companies succeed with a pay-per-view under the name Summer Bash, because I feel like that every company that I've seen do it has actually done it better than we ever did. So it's
Well, I think this year's one was pretty cool because you had the amount of companies that were in the backyard and the underground. You got a chance to see Anthony Steele and D'Angelo the Flame. You got a chance to see Justin Parsley and the likes of Omen Black or Sean Jovi and Remy Ravage. If you know the GBYWN,
yeah,
Remy Ravage was a part of that years ago. Sean Jovi, and we see you do I think a Mr. S move there, but I'll leave that at that. But I think to see people like Drake Golddragon, Big Man Cam, Darkron Matthew Forsaken, Isaiah Rage, JX, another guy, obviously, he's had a long history with Delta. To see a lot of these people that were there at Summer Bash, I think that that's the spirit. And you guys, did that a little bit with BYW Mania and obviously, prior incarnations. And I think that, who knows, maybe you'll be a part of the next one. I don't know what the future brings. I mean, I always think that, you never know, really. I think you never know what
yeah.
comes ahead. And I think that watching this, and he had a long career in a lot of sense. I got a good question. And do you have a dream opponent in the yard? I mean, you kind of answered it earlier, but you have anybody you'd like to be an opponent next outside of BTW?
Actually, I have a few. Um,
Give me him.
so Joe Razor in JRW for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many comparisons to Joe Razor throughout my entire career. Um, Jack Delta,
Well,
absolutely.
everybody wants Jack Delta. You got to have
Everybody
Jack
wants
Delta in this.
everybody wants Jack Delta, but everybody. I'll just say this: everybody doesn't have the story that can make it work.
Yeah, now that I agree with you. I agree with you that people come onto my platform every other day when he pops in or when he's here. And I want to wrestle him. Yeah, I want to wrestle Jack
Yeah,
Delta.
yeah, just because it would be great, but I have a legitimate story that could work, and I feel like just with how beautiful that Jack Delta has been able to tell stories within the industry so far, obviously, I mean, he's Jack fucking Delta. Um, I think we could do something theoretical. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think that right now there's a couple really, to me at the moment, I would say probably one person out, outside of where he works that it would make sense for him to wrestle. And that's only because he's kind of been the man that's taken his shoes over, and that's D'Angelo the Flame. Aaron Blaze just wrestled. Obviously, Aaron Blaze, another traveler, but they just wrestled. So the only man, leaving aside yourself, that I think would make sense would be LaFlame, only because LaFlame's the guy in the circuit who's traveled and is doing what Delta's done already. So I mean that would make sense. I've heard other names thrown out there, but I don't think, like you said, there's a history. But yeah, I think that if there's a will and a way and you could get out there, he's in Michigan currently. That's where it's going to have to take place.
or
Yeah.
maybe I know that his company's open to all yarders.
Yeah, well,
But
I said he's in Michigan. It would have to happen in his company in Michigan.
or does he want to take the mantle on that I've taken on this year? And does he want to go through the BTW roster?
That's an interesting question. That would be up to him. That would be up to him. I think
That
that's
would be
obvious.
up to him. I just wanted to throw it out. I just wanted to throw it out there live on air.
No,
because-
no. Listen, why not? Listen.
Yeah,
I mean, I think 3,000 subs. I think that Jack certainly would look at that more so than Triple W. I think, and there's also guys that he knows here. But
yeah,
no,
no,
sure.
definitely. And if he doesn't, I'm a traveling guy, so I would.
Well, my point was that I think that obviously, if that could happen in Michigan, I'm sure that could certainly be something to discuss. But Jack, I'm sure, will be here again, and I'm sure this will come up. But yeah, I agree with you. You have a history. You've been on bills with him. I think that there is an under the radar thing. I think if you looked at who he's wrestled recently, JX, there's history. Aaron Blaze was a fan of Jack Delta's. Those names, I would like to see D'Angelo the Flame personally, just because he's the traveler guy. But, I think you're a name that I would throw right up in there. And let me get to some more comments. I know I've said this many times. Blade versus Comatose 3 needs to happen. We're 1-1, need a tiebreaker, the rubber match.
It could definitely happen if I can make my way down to Georgia, which I do plan on happening sometime in the future. It will happen.
You never know. Listen, anything's possible. And if you want to follow Mr. Comatose, I want to actually put up some more links here. And that's his Instagram, realcomatose_. We'll watch the end of the match and get to a few final thoughts. And definitely been, one that a lot of people watched on your page. I mean, there's no question about that. A lot of people watched it.
Oh, this one definitely. It was a staple. It was a staple in WWC's history. It was an emotional time for everyone that took part in this match and the matches, of course, that were before this for the actual company. But this was definitely one that we wanted to make sure that we did somewhat right. If I could, you can never do something 100% right, but you at least want to get it.
Trust me, there's nothing.
You at least want to get it 90% how you imaged it, somewhat.
Sure, obviously that's where it's become successful, and you definitely put on still a good show with Sean, and listen, it's definitely anything's possible out there. Just anything is possible, and I think that to see you going and having a nice comeback here also after a 4-year hiatus, and to have 3 titles, and to be in a good company, I think a lot of good things you have on the horizon. Obviously, we're going to see you tomorrow also in action coming up here. And
absolutely,
it's going to be in a matter of hours against Redhead. Go, please support BTW. They're doing a great job. I just saw RJS was with Navon McDonald. I mean, you want to talk about traveler. He just went to see Navon McDonald. Another guy, a lot of people, listen, Navon McDonald's another guy a lot of people have a lot of respect for. He's had
another guy on my list.
Yeah, sure. He's probably so I had JX pop into my show for the first time. Navon McDonald's probably the most elusive guy I could get on this platform. I had JX, he was the guy, but Navon McDonald's the other one. Navon McDonald, for whatever reason, I don't know, he just doesn't do interviews. But yeah, Navon McDonald's a guy I would definitely like to have on for sure.
He has a very selective taste in people he likes to talk to. For sure.
Well, I think if Ledger Shade could come here, I don't think that there's any reason why Navon.
I feel like Navon should have been on this show a long time ago.
I think that it was. Well, I think there was somebody. I won't say who helped with that, but it's just scheduling. Sometimes I can't get everybody on here, and the match unfortunately ends. But we see a bunch of comments from Zilla. But there's the match. I'm going to put up your YouTube channel here shortly, so people can follow you here on YouTube. So that's your YouTube. If you actually want to support Comatose, you have a long list of stuff he's doing. Obviously, a free agent video here. You got some other stuff this year he's recently done. You have a whole story about BYW Mania 2. Maybe we'll get into that. You've done a podcast, apparently. You've done some podcasting work and some other stuff, and obviously a long history there that I'm sure we're going to get into in some, upcoming shows. A lot to talk about with you and your history is certainly a lot. WWKC, we see stuff here with a lot of different names. We've got just a long history, the career story, you and Sean and Blade, Ashton Manson. I mean, it's a lot. It's an intense amount of history.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's his YouTube page. Yep, check him out. I'm subscribed on all the. I didn't even realize. It's funny. I said, "Oh, the link's broken." I just realized I'm subscribed to all 3 of my YouTube accounts. Actually, have you on YouTube subscribe? I don't know why the link wasn't working through StreamYard, but that's okay.
Huh.
Let me come back to this. Comatose doesn't have an easy matchup for sure tomorrow. I agree with you. Listen, I think that's going to be, like I talked about at the beginning of the show, going to be interesting to see. Will you be able to keep up with that? And I also want to be able to put that link up on the screen. And I actually want to do something special for BTW because I actually, before we get to some final thoughts, want to put a merchandise link, because if you'd like to buy some merchandise, and the most important way to support our companies is through merchandise, you are going to have that opportunity here right now, because I'm going to take this off the screen and put this on the screen, because that's the beautiful magic of technology. I actually have a TeePublic store, and that is a BTW TeePublic store. And You have a list of things you want to buy. You want to buy RJS, you want to buy the Evolution, the logo shirt. It's $16, 35% off. So there's some merchandise. Go support it. Join the cause. It helps these guys. It's not easy to put these shows together with cost, travel, everything else in between. So please support everybody. It's all Wrestling Matters. So please go out and support everything related to BTW and all the great things that they have to offer. So we'll take this off the screen for now. I'll put your Instagram up as we get ready for closing thoughts. So first of all, give me your final words for Redhead before tomorrow.
For Redhead, a Grand Slam champion of BTW, a well-respected member of the roster, you're definitely someone that I can't take very lightly. But what I will say is that you can't take me lightly either. And I know you haven't ever been in the ring with me or anyone like me. You've been in the ring with RJS. You've been in the ring with Swift. You've been in the ring with BES. But you've never been in the ring with Comatose. And that is something to be said, and this is something to be foretold. This is going to be a match to witness, and you guys are going to want to tune into the show tomorrow, definitely, for sure. Because Fire and Ice, Redhead, you might be one of the tag team champions, but I am a triple champion, and I am your triple champion.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, excited about all of that. I can't wait for tomorrow's episode. I'm on the air at 4:30, but right before that, I'm going to be going out there and watching everything related to BTW. It's a big episode. I'm hyped for it. You should be too. This is this man's Instagram. Go out and support this man. He has had quite a journey, quite a story, a lot to catch up with him. And coming up next month, we're going to bring him back on and talk the fallout from it. And also, I agree with Blade. Comatose isn't one to take things lightly and isn't to be taken as a joke. Well, obviously, the history speaks for itself, and obviously everything that he's done, and I think that that's why we're excited about the upcoming show. And let me ask you then another question before we get to closing thoughts. What do you want to say to anybody here tonight that's tuned in, and what would you like to say to the people who are also hearing you for the first time?
For the first time, okay. For the people that don't know who I am, for the people that are just hearing my name for the first time, and for my fans that are actually listening and watching this podcast and supporting me, all I want to say is thank you immensely for supporting our cause. Thank you immensely for supporting me through my long 10-year journey throughout this industry, throughout the the decade plus of history that I have in backyard wrestling. Thank you so much to the big names that actually make this a staple in the world. People like Navon McDonald, Jack Delta, people like, of course, RJS, who I could face, people like Swift, people like Jake Frost, anyone that has ever been on this show, Joe Razor, Mr. Awesome, my own mother, thank you all so much.
Yes, your mother has been unbelievable.
Absolutely.
She's been.
Yeah, my mom is unbelievable. She has been an unbelievable supporter of mine.
I wish I had a mom that supported like that. I mean, my mother only listens, and it's like, okay, I heard enough. Your mother was here the entire time. It was
She
like,
has been here the entire time, and she usually is here the entire time. And I love my mother so much because
I could
she
see
is
why.
my number one fan. Absolutely, there is no one that compares to my mother when it comes to my fandom. And
I
I
can
am
see
going to say
that.
this: you may have just gained a lifelong fan as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate any fans at this point. And you're going to come back on, and I think I'm going to have more BTW coverage because I definitely would like to have you guys come on here more often because I think that BTW, they can play on my team. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of, things that I think are important. And I really would like to, have another bridge to build there. And that's always what it's about. And I thank BTW for giving us this opportunity to speak with you. And your mom obviously loves you. I could certainly see that's why, a good reason. And I really can't wait to see what you do. I can't wait to watch, tomorrow's show. I can't wait to see everything that unfolds with BCF and, all these other guys, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, your future. You're the interpromotional champion, the TV champ, the continental champion. It's just really, really fast. It was a really good experience. And I think that a lot of people are going to be really happy. This was I feel like I only scratched the surface with it. I could be 2 hours, but I realize I can't do that. Yeah. And I agree with you. I definitely will be watching. And, I think that's kind of where we're at. And I want to give you the floor now. I want to give you some closing thoughts because I think at this point, I realize people are like, okay, I've heard the point, but no, I don't have much of a voice left. But I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts and anything else you'd like to plug, share, or say. And the next time you come here, you'll take your place into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame alongside Jack Delta. Alongside guys like Anthony Steele, guys like James Taylor, Atomic Titan. Guys that have been in the yard a long time.
And I want to shout out one more person real quick.
Shout out 100 people if you like. You can shout out 100.
I would like to shout out CJ Black as well for being one of my biggest influences in the yard as well.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
The good guy, CJ Black.
So the good guy.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So you know him very well then?
I talk to him quite a bit off camera and just in the messages.
Don't tell it off camera. He'd get very mad if you just said that.
He is one of the hardest working people in the yard. For sure.
You don't, if we're talking out of character, you do not have to tell me that because, I think that a lot of people know that Sportswire does a lot of covering ROEW, and ROEW, I don't want to say who, but it was a talent in ROEW that said, Tom, you've really been the person helping us get to where we are. I'm like, no, not going to go there. But, but the point was that, ROEW was a company that, had a long yard history years back with Hillbilly Tilly and the brothers, and they were in the Nexus. And I don't want to go there at the Nexus. I'm trying to be very pedestrian with that, but they're on their own. And they got James Taylor, who's a darling in the scene, and JX, who's a hell of a talent, Aaron Blaze, and who's wrestling there tomorrow for them. My guy is in DKW, and Jack Delta with as Aaron Blaze calls, a Beavis and Butthead haircut. I'm not going to say that because I happen to like Jack Delta, but ROEW's to me like it's the best, one of the best YouTube products out there right now. It's really doing well. It's almost at, I think, 900 subs, something like that. And C Money was on there, CJ Black's brother, and beat Atomic Titan on 4th of July, opened the show there, and they're clicking on all cylinders right now. Yeah, just a great company. And BTW's pretty damn good company too, because you guys get thousands of views regularly for your shows, and I want people to hit that sub button for you guys. And really excited about the future. And BTW, those are the links. I'm going to one more time before we go put up BTW's YouTube link so you can watch the show tomorrow and all future shows coming up, and some great wrestlers. I definitely love to obviously get them here on this platform and such. And one more time, that's the link. So all you have to do, and in fact, I even noticed BTW got some subscribers tonight because you guys were at 2.9 and I see it 2.91 now. So
wow, that's impressive. That's amazing. Holy crap.
Yep, so you got to 2.91. So definitely there. FIW should start soon. I don't have an exact date, but be on the lookout for that. Well, if there's anything I can do, give me a message. I'm on Instagram at the Sports Report 2021. I'm at TikTok at Sportswire Radio. And if you'd like to follow me and talk to me about it, and there's something I could do, let me know. And this gentleman will be here in a few weeks back, and we'll talk about some of his history and get into it. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I feel like I only scratched the surface, like I said, but I'm starting to obviously go down for the count, and I appreciate that. I've done this twice today, and I do it every day, so my voice is kind of, the heat's getting to me a little bit, but I have no doubt you, Redhead, will certainly be feeling it, kind of like almost like Sammy Hagar, the former singer of Van Halen. His fans are called the Redheads, but you're going to basically take the Redheads and make them Deadheads, because you're going to make Redhead a Deadhead come tomorrow. We'll have to find it, I'm sure, and catch all of it. But congratulations, my friend, on all of the success. I am looking forward to seeing what's ahead for tomorrow, the future and beyond, and whatever you decide to do in BTW and other places. And congratulations, and one more time, congratulations for being the first triple champion in one promotion to come on Sportswire Radio in our history. Thank you so much for making history tonight.
Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to make history, Tom. Absolutely.
You got it. You deserved it. You earned it. His name is Comatose. He's definitely one you want to check out more from. You'll see him here on Sportswire Radio. He'll go into the Hall of Fame next month. You'll also see him in BTW. They're on YouTube tomorrow. Big Show, Season 6, Episode 128. You can catch Comatose on his own YouTube page, see his own history. Check him out on Instagram, everything else in between. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, your voice for all wrestling matters. Tom, you trying to rap like the G baby? Listen, I'm from New York, man. I mean, I've actually done rapping on this platform. We had guys that, let me just say, they were like Z level yarders and they put stuff out there, and I was actually rapping to it. And guys were like, wow, Tom, you could make a career. And I was like, well, I am from New York City, but I am from Brooklyn, but I'm going to keep the rapping to the professionals, just like I'm going to keep the professional wrestling and the good yard work from the guys like BTW. Let the professionals do their work and do their magic. But thank you, BTW. We'll be in touch when we're off the air. And I will see everybody tomorrow with Osiris from ESW Shockwave. So if you would like to see Mr. Osiris, you want to maybe you want to challenge Osiris tomorrow, Comatose. Apparently Osiris is no longer in ESW. And if you want to maybe give a pitch, if BTW wrestlers want to convince Osiris that he should work for you guys, you got some big names, maybe he'll listen, because Osiris is no longer in ESW and he's announced his retirement. But we know how it goes in wrestling.
Yeah,
Nobody really announces their retirement. So you know what? Maybe you guys want to come down and maybe make your pitch to Osiris at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Maybe we'll see what happens. But until then, thank you so much, everybody, for all of your support. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all